Mike here with Make It Great Again, and welcome back to part 4 of the rebuild on my 2015 Argo 750 HDI extreme terrain amphibious vehicle. Alrighty guys, now that the Argo has been completely disassembled, leaving nothing more than a bunch of parts on a table and under the table, we're going to start power washing the frame and the tub and look to clean up some of these other parts, find out what I can reuse and what I need to replace. Alright guys, let's get started. I got the frame set up on some sawhorses here, and you can see how just nasty this is. I sprayed some degreaser all over it, let it soak for a little while, hopefully to blast most of this off. I still have to take all the inner bearings out. I am going to replace the inner bearings on this as well. Some of these frame or chain sliders I'm going to replace. But overall, the frame is in pretty good condition, except for this back part here. As far as the tub goes, it's in really good shape. I haven't found any holes yet, but there is some damage. You can see how I got pushed in. So I'm going to heat the plastic up. I'm going to flatten that back out and make sure that that didn't go through. That was from a chain wrapped around the sprocket, and did some damage to the hull as well as the frame itself. There's another spot there, but overall, the tub itself is in really good condition. No other punctures that I can see. So back here, that's where on the tub showed where it cut into the bottom. Well, when that chain wrapped around that sprocket, it also messed up the frame itself, and this part is slightly leaning inward on the top right there, so we're going to address these issues. Man, that stuff is really on there. Tub came out pretty darn clean. See that circular formation right there? Not so much on the other side, but what that's caused from is the jack shaft sliding out this way and rubbing against the plastic. The floor pan is solid. I would say from here, the seam back is where it's pretty badly rusted, and it's so thin that I can bend it around and manipulate and break chunks off of it. And also another one here where it took a chunk out of the upper frame and this lower part here. We're going to fix that, weld some new pieces in. There's no other catastrophic rust issues that I can find anywhere on this frame, so that's good. Well, I managed to get the tub in here, flip it upside down, and grind out the rest of the rivets on the rear and the front. Remember, I only did it along the sides, so I can remove the skid plate. Man, it's a lot of river rocks and dirt and shit cut down in there. There's the tear. There's the hole right there. That's where it went through. So I'm going to heat this plastic up to the point where it can bend back down again and lay flat. I was really hoping that there wasn't going to be any damage done to the frame, or I'm sorry, the tub. But at least it's an easy fix. All right, since I directed my attention to this damage to the hull here, as you can see, there's a hole there, a little bitty hole. It's almost a crack, really. and how bowed up that is. Same thing over here, but it didn't puncture through the hull anywhere. It looks like just a big stretch mark scar. But anyways, I also have an area on the hood. I don't know, it looks like somebody just hit it with a grinding wheel, maybe by accident, dropped it on it, who knows. But that went all the way through. So it looks like I'm going to be doing some plastic welding. Got my handy dandy soldering iron, Dremel with a cutoff wheel, and a heat gun. I'm going to heat this plastic up, and once it softens up, the weight of the tub is going to push that bubble back up, and I'm also going to put some weight on this and smash it down and get that nice and flat again. And heat it up enough to get it soft. Use this board right over there. Just put my weight on it. It's nice and flat for sure. Trying to fuse this plastic back together. Alright, let's flip the tub around. Instead of just jamming my soldering iron into this crack right here, what I did was I made these little clips out of paper clip. Yeah, it's melting in. Perfect. And with them all in place, now just clip off the end pieces here. Not pretty. It's a hell of a scar, but it's going to definitely hold, and it sealed that plastic crack right up. All the little nubs were ground off. Finished product. Well, I just got done with the hood, and that's the end result. It's just basically a little scar now. Yeah, it's not the prettiest thing, but after that gouge that it had, that was pretty bad. Now that I got the plastics repaired the way I want them, and I'm satisfied with how those turned out, I'm going to turn my attention to the axles and some of the parts that I have sitting on the table there. With the initial cleaning and degreasing done, I had a chance to inspect the axles a little better. There's no grooves where the bearings were running on the axles. A little bit of light surface rust, no big deal. Do plan on putting the sprockets in the sandblast cabinet because I am going to paint those. So everything else, a little bit of light surface rust, everything's in good shape. Bearing cups, all that. You take apart an Argo, expect to clean. When it comes to the frame, I went ahead and removed all of the inner bearings and flanges with the exception of what I got going on here. It's a little mock-up I have. I'll explain that in a minute. I removed all of the chain tensioners. I went ahead and hammered down this top support that was damaged by a chain wrapping around a sprocket. This particular axle didn't have a thrust bolt on the end of it, so it allowed the axle to walk its way out, pulling the chain and everything against the frame, and it chewed these grooves into it. So I'm going to cut this out and weld in another strip here and weld in another strip there to strengthen this this C-channel part of the frame here. So other than that, the frame is in good shape. The reason I have a little mock-up going on here is I'm trying to fabricate a front chain tensioner that is going to be easily serviceable, removed, and what have you, or gotten out of the way. So what I want to do is run a bolt through here with some tabs, run a bolt through here that this can snap down onto, and have a little, arm coming out so I can run a spring down through here to attach the spring. And essentially what it'll end up being is something like this that's going to pull down on this chain. All right, so now that we've got the angle iron welded up and everything, we've got pretty much the finished prototype here. All right, so it'll swing out of the way when you need to work on the chain and provide tension. Now here somewhere or here on this side of this plate, I'll have a spring that goes down to keep pressure downward on this thing. The nice thing about these is it'll be reversible, so you can actually run the chain over the slider. And I'm thinking about doing a hoop that comes up, goes over and down, where you can attach the spring to pull up if need be. So you can actually pull the chain upwards instead. So they're reversible chain tensioners. Turned out pretty nice, both of them. Same thing. Awesome. We went ahead and started removing that section of damaged area on the frame here, this top C channel there. So that's what we ended up having to cut out that was damaged, ground down. We're going to do the same on the bottom there. Just cut that section out, and then we're going to weld a new piece in. This is where we're going to be cutting out that section, replacing it. Likely here also. Back here, you can really see the floor pan rot. So the sheet metal. So now that we found a piece of angle iron that matches the thickness of the frame itself that we're trying to repair, he's going to go ahead and weld all that in. And then when we're done, we'll basically grind it straight across. And just like that, the frame is as good as newish. Beautiful. We're going to be zipping off all the welds, and we're going to be completely removing this floor pan and replacing it with this one here after we have to do these cutouts and stuff like that on the new one. This floor pan right here, it's got to be what would you say it is thickness wise? 18 gauge. Okay, it's pretty thin stuff. Let me see here. It's pretty thin stuff, right? That floor pan we got right there is 14 gauge. Out with the old rusty nasty falling apart one, and in with the new one. Fits like a glove. Very nice. Now we just gotta tack weld it in after I clean and wire wheel the entire frame. Once I wire wheel and clean up the entire frame, then we'll weld the floor in, and then the frame will be ready for paint. Nice. And here is the completed floor pan. Everything's welded up nicely. Reinforced it in areas we saw any flex. This 14 gauge steel floor pan is really going to be a big improvement here. We added this little plate right here and welded it down because in the back the floor pan doesn't touch anything but where it's welded along here and then across the back. So just a little bit of extra support so that floor pan won't flex. Really nice. Now that I have the frame painted, nice brown color, I'm going to go ahead and end part 4 here, and I'll pick up on part 5, hopefully the reassembly of this thing. Alright guys, thanks for watching and stay tuned for part 5.